Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Chav Beis, where 3 lines from the top says the Gemara. Umi Islay, Rav Yehuda Hirer. The Gemara here is a move discussing the halacha of a Baal Keri, one who had a seminal discharge. He is prohibited from speaking words of tefillah, words of Torah. In some cases he's allowed to be maharer, he's allowed to contemplate those words, and the Gemara concluded that all shittis, whether it's the Tanna Kama or Rav Yehuda, they agree to this limitation imposed upon a Baal Keri. Says the Gemara, is that so? Umi Islay, the Rav Yehuda Hirer, does Rav Yehuda agree with this limitation of a Hirer imposed upon a Baal Keri? V'atanya, haven't we learned in the Brachos otherwise? Baal Keri she'ein li mayim litboil, a Baal Keri who has no water available to be toivel. Kairi Krishma, he recites Krishma, Ve'enim Mevarach, but does not make the bracha leila faneh, v'leila achrei, not before Krishma, not following Krishma. V'oichal pitoi, he eats his bread, u'mevarach achrei, and he makes a bracha achroina, brachas hamazayin, following his bread. Ve'enim Mevarach lefaneh, but not beforehand. Aval maharer b'liboi, but he's only allowed to contemplate, meaning, this that we said that he recites Krishma and the bracha achroina on bread, this is only done through hirur, through contemplating in one's heart, but he does not express it with his lips. This is the opinion of Rav Meir. Either way, he's allowed to express it with his lips. So here we see clearly that Rav Yehuda does not impose any restriction on a Baal Keri. Says the Gemara, here it's different. Here we're speaking about brachos. Rav Yehuda only allows the Baal Keri to recite brachos. Why? Because brachos assume their own category. Son Rav Yehuda equates brachos to hilchos derech eretz. They're equated to the same status as hilchos derech eretz. Those are brachos which dictate to us our proper mode of behavior, hilchos derech eretz, and that a Baal Keri is allowed to engage in. Rav Yehuda has a leniency. He allows a Baal Keri to engage in those halachos. Similarly, regarding brachos, they are considered our regular mode of life, our mode of behavior, and they are equated to hilchos derech eretz. And Rav Yehuda does not impose restrictions on brachos. However, regarding everything else, Torah, Krishma, Rav Yehuda agrees to the restriction imposed upon a Baal Keri. Says the Gemara Desanya, as you will see, Rav Yehuda's view included in the following brayso, which lists for us a list of no less than 8 opinions regarding the restriction imposed upon a Baal Keri. Desanya, you will teach Torah to your children and grandchildren. And right nearby it says the following pasuk: recall, remember, re-experience the day that you stood lifnei Hashem in front of Hashem at Har Sinai when you accepted the Torah. Says the Gemara, we are meant to connect the two things. Malahalan, just like there b'shas matan Torah, at the time of giving the Torah, it was an experience of utmost seriousness. It was be'ema, with awe, be'yira, with fear, bereses, with quivering, ubeziyah, with quaking. Afkan, here too, nowadays, when one involves himself in the study of Torah, is meant to be done with utmost sincerity and seriousness. Be'ema, be'yira, bereses, ubeziyah. Mekan amru. From here the Chacham derived the following halach, that a Baal Keri, since his tumah involved a degree of lightheadedness, therefore he is restricted from learning Torah until he purifies himself and prepares himself properly for Torah study. Mikan amru ha'azavim v'ametzeroim ubon al nides. These are individuals that contain a tumah of high degree. Azav, a metzora, one who had relations with the nida and has tumah shiva siyama, tumah chamura. Nevertheless, mutarim, they're allowed to engage in Torah study. Mutarim l'kris b'Torah, u'benaviyim, u'b'ksuvim, l'shnais b'mishnah, they can learn mishnayos, u'b'gemara, b'halachos, v'agadis, and drush. There's no restriction. Aval, however, Baal Keri, and one who is a Baal Keri, asurim, they are restricted from learning Torah. As Rashi explains, since their tumah involved a degree of lightheadedness, of kalas roish, so although it is a great mitzvah oina is a great mitzvah and a great obligation, nevertheless, since tashmish inevitably involves a degree of kalas roish, one must purify himself, b'mitar himself, to enable himself to approach Torah with the proper frame of mind of ema, yira, reses, and ziyah. So according to Tanna Kama, he's not allowed to engage in any form of liman Torah. Rabbi Yossi, there's a leniency. He can learn those missions which he is ruggling, which he learns them in an habitual manner. He knows them well. He doesn't need to concentrate. But don't concentrate and delve into them. Rabbi Yonis ben Yosef, Matzios Mishnah, you can delve into Mishnayos, but not into Matzios Gemara. You can't delve into Gemara. Rashi says we are Goris Midrash. These are the Brachos of Sefer Sifri, which elaborate on the Psukim. The Bach mentions that from here on in, whenever the Amid in our Amid, whenever the Gemara mentions the word Gemara, we're meant to substitute it with the word Medrash. These are the Brachos. So we have another shita regarding Balkari. He may delve into Gemara. Be careful not to say the words of Hashem that are mentioned in these Medrashim, in the Psukim. Who was the Talmud of Rabbi Akiva, said in the name of Rabbi Akiva, he shouldn't engage in Medrash at all. We're afraid that perhaps he will recite the Askaris, the names of Hashem. Some opinion, some say the base of Medrash Kolikar, he shouldn't even enter the base of Medrash at all. And finally, the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda, which was Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shainuhu Behilcha is Derech Eretz. He may learn Hilchas Derech Eretz. Rashi brings a brisa of Darkan Shetakamid Chachamim, which is a brisa in Mesechus Derech Eretz, and so on. These are Hilchas Derech Eretz, and therefore they are allowed to a Balkari. Continues the Gemara. Maser Rabbi Yehuda Shura Keri. He was a Balkari. He was walking near the river. Rabbeinu Shanelanu Perek Echad Bilchas Derech Eretz. Teach us something from the brisa of Derech Eretz, which is allowed for a Balkari. Yorad v'Tovel. He nevertheless immersed. He was Tovel v'Shana Lahem, and then he taught it to him. Amar Loi, so they were perplexed. They told him, Loikach Matan Rabbeinu, didn't you already teach us that Shoinu Bilchas Derech Eretz? A Balkari is allowed to learn Bilchas Derech Eretz. So why did you need to be Tovel prior to teaching it to us? He responded, even though I'm lenient regarding others, I am stringent, I am more machmer regarding myself, and therefore I require to be toivel and then teach you. So we have a list, a summary of 8 shitas regarding the restrictions upon a Balkari. According to Tanakama, he's restricted from any form of learning. According to Rav Yossi, he's allowed to be shayne beregiliyos in those missions which he is used to reciting. According to Rav Yonis ben Yosef, he may even delve into Mishnayos. According to Rav Nasan Rav Shalom, he may even delve into Gemara without saying the Askaris. According to Rav Yechon Sandal, the Talmud of Rav Akiva, who quoted Rav Akiva, which holds he should not engage in Medrash and Gemara at all. According to the second Shita, he may not even enter the Beis HaMedrash. Finally, according to Rav Yehuda, he may study Hilchas Derech Eretz. Continues the Gemara. Tanya, Rav Yehuda ben Meseir Omer, this is the second of the widest lines. The Shita of Rav Yehuda ben Meseir is as follows. Ein divrei Torah mekabel tuma. Words of Torah are not susceptible. Do not mekabel tuma, and even one who is a Balkari may fully engage in words of Torah. So this is a very lenient opinion. In fact, there was a story, a student, who was mumbling. He hesitated to express the words of Torah clearly. He was mumbling the words of Torah, Lamala, Rav Yehuda ben Meseir, in the presence of Rav Yehuda ben Meseir. And Rav Yehuda ben Meseir noticed him. Amalei told him, B'nai, my son, why are you doing so? Psach picha, open your mouth with confidence. V'yirud v'recha, and let the words shine out. She'ein dever Torah mekabel tuma. The words of Torah do not become tamei. Shenemar haloi dvorkai dvarai ke'eshnam Hashem. My words are like fire, says Hashem. My eish enim mekabel tuma. Just like fire does not get tuma, does not become tamei. After divrei Torah enim mekabel tuma, so too the divrei Torah are not mekabel tuma, and you may fully engage yourself in the words of Torah even if you are a Balakari. Omar Mar. We learned earlier an opinion regarding the limitation of a Balkari. Matzia was a Mishnah, and Matzia is a Gemara. He may delve into Mishnayos, but not into Gemara. And again, as the Bach said, Gemara here substituted with the word Medrash. He can't delve into Medrash. The Brachos, which elaborate on the Psukim. Says the Gemara, Messiah, Leila Rav Loi. This opinion supports the opinion of Rav Loi, who said the same halacha. The Amar Rav Loi, Amar Rav Achra Yaakov, Mishum Rabbeinu. The name of Rabbeinu, Rashi says this means Rav, which is halacha. Matzia as a Mishnah and Matzia as a Gemara. Then about Balkari can delve into Mishnayos, but not into Gemara. So it's the same opinion. Continues the Gemara, Tanai. This will correspond with the list of Tanai, the opinions mentioned in the following brayso. Matzia as a Mishnah and Matzia as a Gemara. He can delve into Mishnayos, but not into Gemara. This is the Shita of Rav Meir. So this corresponds with the Shita we just mentioned. Rav Yehuda ben Gamliel Omer, B'Shem Chanina ben Gamliel, Zev is Aser. That regarding Gemara, he cannot engage in Gemara whether it's superficially or by by being matzeh, by delving into Gemara. Don't engage in Gemara at all. Va'amrila, there's a third shita, which is zev mutar. He can engage in whatever he wants. It is allowed. Says the Gemara, Manda Amar zev asur. According to the shita, that Gemara is not allowed to balkari at all. This is corresponding to the shita of Rabbi Yochanan Asandel mentioned in the first brisa, that holds that regarding medrash, regarding Gemara, a balkari cannot engage at all. Manda Amar zev mutar. The final shita which allows him to involve himself in Gemara in any fashion is Kavidu and Asera, which is the most lenient shita mentioned earlier that doesn't restrict a balkari in any way. The Torah are not makabel tuma, and he may learn in any form or fashion that he chooses. Continues the Gemara. Amar of Nachmar Yitzchak. There are three leniencies found in the Gemara, and the custom, our custom, is to follow those kulos. Noig Alma, the world, the public, follows the leniency of Kahani Tlas Sabi, of the following three elders. Says the Gemara. What are the three kulos? Number one, Rabbi Loi Reish Sagez. The shita of Rabbi Loi regarding Reish Sagez, which is the mitzvah to give a kohen a portion of the shearing of the wool. Reish Sagez, the first portion of the shearing of the wool. Rabbi Yoshe b'Kalayim, we follow the leniency of Rabbi Yoshe regarding Kalayim. And finally, Rabbi Yudah b'Masera b'Divrei Torah, which we already know what that is. Explains the Gemara. Rabbi Loi Reish Sagez, we follow the shita of Rabbi Loi regarding Reish Sagez. The Sanya of Rabbi Loi says as follows: Rabbi Loi Omer Reish Sagez, the mitzvah to give Reish Sagez, the portion of the shearing, ein noigel b'aretz, is only applicable, is only obligatory in Eretz Yisrael, not in Chutz La'aretz. So we follow this leniency. Number two, Rabbi Yoshe b'Kalayim k'dichsiv le'sizro karmcha kalayim. One may not plant a mixture in his vineyard. Says Rabbi Yoshe, what does this mean? Rabbi Yoshe Omer lo ilam ein chayev. He is not chayev at sheyizra chita usa oira v'chartzon b'mapoyetz yad. If he mixes up a kernel of wheat, a kernel of barley together with a grapeseed in one planting, that is considered to be kalai hakerem. Rabbi Yoshe learns the pasuk of the Sizr Karcha Kalayim as follows: you may not plant kalayim, meaning a mixture of two seeds, in the kerem together with the grapeseed. So it needs to be a total of 3 seeds. So we follow this leniency. There's no chiyuv in kalai kerem unless he plants 3 seeds together. And finally, we follow the leniency of Rabbi Yudah b'Masera b'Divrei Torah. The Sanya of Yudah b'Masera oime ein Divrei Torah mekabel tuma, and is allowed to a balkari. Continues the Gemara. Continue with this kula of Rabbi Yudah b'Masera. Ki'asav Ze'iri, when he came, he said, Amar batlua l'tfilusa. Indeed, they abolished the requirement to be toivel, following in accordance with the shita of Rabbi Yudah b'Masera, who does not require balkari to be toivel, to purify himself, to learn Divrei Torah. For some had a different version in the statement of Ze'iri, as follows: Batlua l'netilusa, they abolished netilas yadayim. The Gemara will explain. Manda Amar batlua l'tvilusa, they abolished tvila. Rabbi Yudah b'Masera. Manda Amar batlua l'netilusa, it was referring to Kihada of Chizda, Layit. He condemned, he cursed. He looked unfavorably upon Amanda Mahadar Mai, one who sought to find water, but even twice in the time of prayer. He sought water before he davened. The Gemara explains earlier, it's referring to Krishma. Before he recites Krishma, he's looking to find water to wash his hands, and that is not recommended since he may miss the deadline, there's not Krishma. Therefore, that is not meant to be done. One is meant to merely use a midi de benaki, something which cleanses, and not be particular about water. So this is what he meant to say when he said, Batlul lintilusa, they abolished the practice of looking for water. Continues the Gemara. Tana Rabban, Balkari, Shenasno Tisha Kabin Mayim Tor. The Gemara will teach us a new leniency regarding Balkari. Not only can he purify himself through tefillah, but even through Nasnu Olav Tisha Kabin Mayim, even by pouring on him 9 kabin of water, which is the amount sufficient to wash a person. That too purifies him for Torah and for tefillah. The amount of Tisha Kabin nowadays is around 13 liters. So this was another way to purify a Balkari. Says the Gemara, he whispered this solution of Tisha Kabin to Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva lachshel ben Azai, he whispered it to Ben Azai. And what happened then? Ben Azai yotza v'shanal tamida v'shuk. He went and announced it in public to his students. Says the Gemara, pligi b'Torah Amoraim ma'arava. There was a machlokes, a dispute between 2 Amoraim in the western Eretz Yisrael. between Rav Yossi bar Avin and Rav Yossi bar Zvida regarding the version of events. Chad Tani Shana, one held, maintained that Ben Azai was Shana. He actually taught it in public. He wanted everybody to know about the halacha of Tisha Kavan. V'chad Tani, one maintained that he merely lachsha, he just whispered it. He didn't want everybody to know about it. Why? Says the Gemara, the Tani Shana, the one that maintained that he indeed publicized it, Misham Bittul Torah, or Misham Bittul Piribiribia. He didn't want people to refrain from learning Torah. He didn't want people to refrain from Tashmish and to avoid the mitzvah Piribiribia. Therefore, he told them, he publicized this additional method of purification, the halach of Tisha Kavan. He didn't want people to avoid learning or Piribiribia on account of this requirement of tefillah. He wanted them to know about this other method of Tisha Kavan, which is certainly more convenient and easier to obtain than to be toivel. So that's why he publicized it. Oman de Tani Lachsha, the other shita that held that he merely whispered, he didn't want everybody to know about it. Why? Shaloyu Talmidei Chacham Mitzuyim Eitel Neshasem Ketarnei Golim. He didn't want that Talmidei Chacham should be found by their wives, like the custom of the Tarnei Golim, of the chickens who engage in excessive mating. Therefore, he wanted that the inconvenience involved with being toivel, the requirement to be toivel, should encourage people to moderate their behavior and conduct their life in moderation and properly. Therefore, he didn't want everybody to know about this eitzah, about the solution, since he wanted that the general public should conduct their life in moderation. Continues the Gemara. Man, Amar Shamati shemekilin ba. I heard that some are mekel, some are very lenient, and they allow to purify through Tisha Kavan. Shamati, and I heard shemachmirim ba, that some are stringent and they require tefillah. One who is machmir, who's stringent in this regard to be toivel, he merits that they are marach yom v'shnaisav, his days and years are lengthened. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rishon Levi. What's the point? What's the benefit of those who go to the mikveh and purify themselves by immersion in the morning from Keri? Says the Gemara, Mativan. What do you mean? What's the benefit? Shimon Levi himself maintains that Bal Keri Asa B'Divrei Torah. We learned yesterday that Bal Keri is Asa in Divrei Torah according to Shimon Levi. So what do you mean? What's the point of being toivel? That's why they're being toivel. This is what he meant to say. Why are you meticulous regarding mikvah 40 sa? You can pour merely 9 carbon on yourself. Why do you need to immerse? You can pour the tisha kavan. So you do not need to be scrupulous regarding being toivel. You can use the solution of tisha kavan. Amar Chanina, there is a point. Yes, there is a benefit in requiring being toivel. The requirement to be toivel actually created a gate, was very beneficial in prevention of an avera. The sanya, as we learned, masa be'echad shetav ishad va'avera. One who was engaged, who approached a woman for an avera, Amar Lai, and she told him, Reika, you empty one. Yesh lecha bar misa. Do you have a mikvah shata bem that you will immerse in there? Miyat pirish. He desisted. So we see from here, yes, there is a tremendous benefit in the requirement of tefillah. So Chanina says, Gadol gadruba. The requirement to be toivel creates a great fence, as we saw illustrated in this story. Therefore, yes, there is a point and purpose to require specifically tefillah. Why are you belittling? Why do you do away? Are you not particular and scrupulous regarding this tefillah of tefillah's keri? You're hesitant because of the cold water in the mikveh. You can use a merchatz, a bath, even if it is mayim shuv, even if it is mayim inside a vessel. That's okay. How can you give them an eitzah advice to go into a merchatz, into a bath which is warmed up? Can a person do that? Can you do tefillah in a vessel? You can't do that. He told him, indeed, Rav Ada bar Ava agrees with you that one may not immerse for tefillah's keri in a vessel. But evidently he disagrees. He held that it is okay. Says in Rav Zera Haviyaseh b'agna demaya. He was sitting in a container of water, b'masusa, in the bathhouse. Please go get me 9 kavin v'shadi alay and pour it on me. You're already sitting in a container of water. Why is that not sufficient? Why do you need, in addition to that, to have 9 kavin to be poured on you? You're already sitting in the water. Amar Leis, he told him, no. The Chacham were very particular in their requirements. They were very particular. Just like the requirement of tefillah in Arbaim Sa requires one to immerse in the Arbaim Sa, in the mikvah. Ma Arbaim Sa b'tefillah, you need to immerse in the mikvah. You can't take it and pour it on you. Meaning that the halacha of Arbaim Sa was specifically said regarding being toivel in them. After Tisha Kavin, so to the Eitzah, the option of Tisha Kavin was Benesina B'Tvila, was regarding being poured and not regarding one who is immersed in them. Meaning that two separate options. You can either immerse in Abarim Sa, or you could have Tisha Kavin to be poured on you. But if you sit in Tisha Kavin, that is not sufficient. Continues the Gemara. Rav Nachman Tikein Chatzra of Tisha Kavin. Rav Nachman, he set aside a chasva, a container, a barrel, which contained the amount of Tisha Kavin to be used by the Talmidim in the morning to purify them from Tumas Keri. Ki Asar Rav Dimi Amar Akiva. He said as follows. Rav Akiva viewed the Glustra Amru, they made the following statement. This solution, this option of pouring Tisha Kavin is very limited. It's not meant for all. Lo Yishanu, it is only meant it's meant for somebody who is unwell and his keri came unintentionally. It was la'oinsai. And then the Chacham were lenient with him. They did not burden him, did not require him to go to the mikveh. He can use the option of Tisha Kavin being poured on him. But an unwell person who is a Balkari, became a Balkari intentionally. He did Tashmish, for instance. In that case, there's no solution of Tisha Kavin. Abraham saw, he requires to immerse himself. So there's no point, they said, that... So Rav Dimi said, based on this statement, there's no point in establishing the chatzpah by Tisha Kavin, the container containing Tisha Kavin for the Talmidim, since they are balikaring via intention. It wasn't unintentional. It was intentional. It was margal. Therefore, they do not have this option of using Tisha Kavin. Says the Gemara, if so, Omar Rav Yosef, itver chatzvi Rav Nachman. His container was smashed up, it was broken, meaning there's no point. There was no purpose for the container, they couldn't use it anyways. So that is the first sheet of Rav Dimi, again, that the option of Tisha Kavin can only be applied to one who is a chayla, who is unwell, and the keri came unintentionally. However, also Ravin Amar, when Ravin came, he said, Bu'usha V'uvda, there was a story in Usha, they killed Rav Yosha in the Knisas Habayis, in the anteroom of Rav Yosha, V'shalu Rav Asi, and they asked Rav Asi regarding this halach. Amar Lahu, he said as follows: Leishanu ela l'choyle hamargel. This option of Tisha Kavin was said can be applied to a choyle hamargel, one who is unwell, even if his tumah came intentionally. Aval l'choyle la'oinse patim reklum. But if somebody is unwell and he became a balkari unintentionally, he was an oines, he is absolved completely. He doesn't even need Tisha Kavin. So according to this shita, yes, one may use Tisha Kavin even if his tumah came intentionally. He was a margel. As long as he is a chayla, he is unwell. And as Rashi explained earlier, a Talmud Chacham is considered to be a chayla. They are generally considered to be weak. And therefore, certainly a Talmud may use the option of Tisha Kavin even if it came through being margel, it came intentionally. Says the Gemara, so Omar Yosef, it's damet chatzvi Rav Nachman. His barrel, his container was rebuilt, put back together. It indeed has a plan, has a purpose, and has a use. It can be used for the Chachamim to pour on themselves Tisha Kavin with this container, since they are considered to be a choyle hamargel. So we have a more stringent view of Rav Dimi, and we have a more lenient view of Ravin regarding the leniency of Tisha Kavin. According to Rav Dimi, it may only be used for a choyle le'ointzai, for an unwell person who became makari through oines. According to Ravin, it may be used for a choyle hamargel, even if the tumah came intentionally. Says the Gemara, how is it possible? How does it make sense that there was a dispute regarding the Takanas Ezra? Says the Gemara Michti, let's take a look. Kulu Amaroi V'Tanoi, but the Ezra Kamifligid, they're disputing regarding interpreting the Takanas of Ezra, regarding the proper application and interpretation of Takanas Ezra of Ibal Keri. V'nechsi Ezra Hechatikin. Let's take a look. Let's find out how he established this Takana. Explains Tosfos, since this was a Takana which applies all the time, Tefillah B'chol Yom, it was something that is ragel b'chol yom, or something which is practiced on a daily basis. How does it make sense that we don't know in which manner it was established? Says the Gemara, Omar Abaye, the reason why there's a machlekes is because of the following reason. We know that Ezra Tiken lebari hamargel memsa. He's misaken that a bari hamargel, one who is well, who is healthy, and he became tamei intentionally. He requires memsa. Ubari la'ointzei tezkaven. As well, Ezra was misaken that a bari, somebody who is well, who is healthy, and he became tamei la'ointzei unintentionally, he's allowed to have tisha kaven. So, initially, Ezra was already misaken two tracks, two options. For a bari hamargel, memsa. For a bari la'ointzei, we could be more lenient with him, and we do not require a mikvah, but rather tisha kaven. So that was the initial takana. Now, the Amorai are disagreeing regarding the application of Takanas Ezra to an unwell person. Mar savar choyle hamargul kubari hamargul. One shita holds, this is the first shita, the more stringent shita of Rav Dimi, he holds that we do not differentiate between a bari, between a choyle, they both have the same halachas. Choyle hamargul is kubari hamargul, he needs a mikvah. V'choyle la'intzai kubari la'intzai, he needs tisha kaven. Umar Savar, the second sheet of Rav Dimi, he differentiates, he makes a distinction between a choyle and a bari. Umar Savar choyle hamargo kebari lo'intzai. A choyle, he gets bumped down one level. A choyle hamargo means the highest form of choyle who became tamei intentionally. He will have merely the halacha of bari lo'intzai, which is tisha kaven. However, a choyle lo'intzai, a choyle who became tamei la'ointzei unintentionally, he will be pater miklum. He's totally, completely absolved from anything. He doesn't even require tisha kaven. So according to the more lenient shita, we bump down the choyle one level. The choyle hamargel, he gets the lower requirement, which is tisha kaven. The choyle la'ointzei is absolutely absolved. He's pater miklum. So that is the view of Abaye. Once again, that according to Ezra, there were already two levels instituted. A bari hamargel mikvah, a bari la'ointzai tisha kaven. Regarding a choyle, that's where there was the machlekes. According to the more stringent view, a choyle has the same status as a bari, and therefore a choyle hamargel mikvah, a choyle la'ointzai tisha kaven. According to the more lenient view of Rav Dimi, a choyle hamargel is bumped down. He requires merely tisha kaven, and a choyle la'ointzai is pater miklum. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, Nehida Sikin Ezra Tefillah, I have a different interpretation of the events. Ezra was only Masakin Tefillah. Nesina Mitikin, how could you suggest that Ezra was Masakin Nesina Tisha Kaven? That is not so. V'amar Mar, we learned Ezra Tikin Tefillah Balikarian. It's not so that Ezra was ever Masakin the concept of Tisha Kaven. Therefore, Rava has a different view, a little bit of different view of events than Abaye. And he says as follows: Elamar Rava, Ezra Tikin Tefillah Labaria Margul Memsa. Ezra was merely masakin one takana, that a bari hamargel, a healthy person who became a tamei intentionally, he is required to be toivel on a mikra of memsa. That's it. He didn't discuss anything regarding an oinus. He only discussed the highest form, bari hamargel memsa. And the Rabbana came along, and they instituted the second option for a bari, a well person who became tamei unintentionally. He's allowed to have nesina tisha kaven. So the concept, the option of tisha kaven was added after the Takanas Ezra. So that is the introduction. Now, the Amoraim came along, the Amoraim, which is Rav Dimi and Ravin, and they had a machlekes. The Kamiflik, and they had a machlekes regarding a chayla. So the continuation of Rava will be exactly identical to Abaye's version of events regarding the machlekes. It was only this opening part that Abaye disputes. He holds that the Takanas Ezra was merely regarding a bari hamargel, which is memsa. The Rabbanon added the option of Tisha Kavan for a Bari La'intzai. Regarding a Chayla, that again is dependent upon the dispute between Rav Dimi and Ravin. Just like Abaye presented it. The Amaroi came along, and they're disputing regarding a Chayla. Mar Savar, the most stringent Shita holds, Chayla HaMargul, Kabari HaMargul. We don't differentiate between a Bari and a Chayla. They have the same status. A Chayla HaMargul is the same as like a Bari HaMargul, which is a mikvah. The Chayla La'intzai, Kabari La'intzai, and a Chayla La'intzai has the same halacha as a Bari La'intzai, which is Tisha Kav. Umar Savar, and the more lenient Shita, which is Ravin holds, that Labari, there's a difference between a Bari and a Chayla, that Labari HaMargil, Memsa, a Bari who's Margil, he needs a mikvah. But Chayla HaMargil is bumped down, and he needs only Kibari La'intzai, he's the same status as a Bari La'intzai, which is low level, which is Tisha Kavan. But Aval Chayla La'intzai Pater Meklum, but a Chayla La'intzai, which is the lowest level, he is completely exempt. So let's make a quick summary. The sheet is a machlokes between Abaye and Rava regarding the version of events. According to Abaye, Ezra initially was masakin both takonis. A Bari HaMargil requires Memsa. A Bari La'intzai can suffice for Tisha Kavan. The machlokes Amarayim is regarding a Chayla. According to Rav Dimi, a Chayla HaMargil is the same like a Bari HaMargil. We don't have to differentiate between a Bari and a Chayla. They're the same halachis. A Chayla HaMargil needs Memsa. A Chayli La'intzai needs Tisha Kavan. According to the more lenient Shita of Ravin, a Chayla HaMargil requires merely Tisha Kavan, and a Chayli La'intzai is Pater. Rava goes along with the same interpretation of the Amarayim's Machlekes. However, he only says one thing different. He says that the Takanas Ezra is merely regarding a Bari HaMargil, which is Memsa. He did not discuss any option regarding Tisha Kavan. However, the Rabbanan added the option of a Bari La'intzai for Tisha Kavan, and the Machlekes Amarayim follow that, whether we equate a Chayla or whether we differentiate between a Bari and a Chayla. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Hilchasa, what is the halacha? What is the practical halacha? Bari HaMargil v'Chayla HaMargil Bar Misa. Ubari La'intzai Tisha Kavan, aval Chayla La'intzai Pater Meklum. Now the Rashba says that this is incorrect girsa. The proper girsa reads as follows: Amar Rava Hilchasa Bari HaMargil. This is the highest form. A well person, a healthy person who is margil, who came tummy intentionally, he requires a bar mitzvah. However, a Chayla HaMargil, which is an unwell person who became tamei intentionally, or a Bari La'intzai, or a person who was well and he became tamei unintentionally, in that case Tisha Kavan. Meaning that Rava follows the more lenient shita of Ravin that differentiates between a Bari and a Chayla. He holds, just like a Bari La'intzai is only required to have Tisha Kavan, same thing regarding a Chayla HaMargil. He's bumped down. He requires the same requirement, the same tahara as a Bari La'intzai, which is merely Tisha Kavan, and Chayla La'intzai is totally exempt, is Pator Miklum. So Rava, according to the version of the Rashba, Paskins, he concludes like the more lenient shita of Ravin, that we differentiate between a Bari, a person who is well, and a person who is unwell, a person who is Chayla. Once again, a Bari HaMargil requires Abar Misa. A Bari La'intzai requires Tisha Kavan. However, a Chayla is bumped down one level. A Chayla HaMargil requires merely Tisha Kavan. A Bari HaMargil, a Chayla HaMargil Tisha Kavan. A Chayla La'intzai is Pator Miklum. Continues the Gemara. Tana Rabbanan. We learned on the Bryce. This is right in the middle of the Yamid. Tana Rabbanan at the two dots. Baal Keri Shnasna of Tisha Kavan Mayim Tar. A Baal Keri who had 9 Kavan poured on him, he is Tar. Says the Bryce. This is only applied la'atzmai if he's learning Torah on his own. Aval acherim, but if he's going out and engaging in teaching Torah to others, that requires a higher level of purity. Arboim sa, he can't merely suffice with Tisha Kavan, he must immerse in a mikveh. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, mem sa b'kol makom, he can use 40 sa wherever they are. The Gemara will explain. What is the meaning of the Shittas Tanakama? What is the meaning of the view of Rabbi Yehuda? Says the Gemara of Yochanan of Shmuel Levi. There was a pair of Yochanan of Shmuel Levi. It goes together as one pair. And Rabbi Lezer of Yisrael Chanina. This was another pair. Chad mihazuga v'chad mihasuga. There was one individual from the first pair and one individual from the second pair, who came to explain, to interpret the Reisha, the meaning of the Tanakama's opinion. And there was a machlokes, a dispute between them regarding the proper interpretation of the Tanakama Shita. The Tanakama differentiates between learning on your own and teaching to others. Teaching to others requires a full-fledged tahara purity of 40 sa. So how do we go about explaining the words of Tanakama? Chad Amar, one said as follows. Had Amris, this is what the Tanakama stipulated, that only when one learns on his own, he can suffice with Tisha Kabin, Aval Acherim himself. If you go and teach others, you need a full-fledged purification process of 40 sa. This is only applied leishanu ela lechayla hamargel. This is only applied to a chayle, a person who is unwell, and he became tamei intentionally. So this person, although ordinarily would suffice with pouring on him Tisha Kabin, we're evidently following the more lenient view that a chayle hamargel is bumped down one level. He merely requires Tisha Kabin. Nevertheless, when he's teaching others, he's bumped back up. He assumes the highest status. He's obligated to go to a mikveh since he's teaching others. But if he's a chayla, a person who's unwell, who became tamei la'oinsai unintentionally, even if he teaches Torah to others, he's merely required to have Tisha Kabin. So this is one view in the interpretation of the Tanakama stipulation, that teaching others is more severe and requires more. One Shita said that how do we interpret the words of Tanakama differently? When you're teaching others, even if he's an unwell person and he became tamei la'oinsai unintentionally, nevertheless, when you go teach others, you must go and be tovel in a mikveh of 40 sa to teach others. So this was a dispute, a difference of opinion in interpreting the words of the Tanakama. The Tanakama requires that one who teaches others to go be tovel. Are we speaking about a chayla hamargel or even a chayla la'oinsai? Continues the Gemara. What about Rabbi Yehuda's view? What does Rabbi Yehuda mean? Continues the Gemara. There was one individual from the first group and one from the second pair, Aseifa, that disagreed regarding the interpretation. In Rabbi Yehuda's words, Chadamar once said, how do we explain Rabbi Yehuda? Hadamar Rabbi Yehuda, mem samon kol makom. What Rabbi Yehuda meant to say when he said 40 sa anywhere, leishon al bakarka, he meant to say that if it's in the ground, then even if the 40 sa were mayim sh'uven, were contained in a vessel, which is something which is not allowed in a ordinary mikveh, but regarding tefillas keri, that's allowed, since it is now found bakarka, since he poured into a pit in the ground. Aval b'kelim, but if it's in a vessel, loy, that is not allowed. To that extent, we do not allow. Rechadam, and one maintained, afilu b'kelim nami, even if the water is to be found in a vessel, it's presently in a kli. For the purification of Valkeri, that is sufficient. Continues the Gemara. It's all well according to the Shita that allows even in Kalim. This is what Rav Yehuda meant when he said 40 saw anywhere, even in a Kli. Rav Yehuda says 40 saw anywhere, even in a vessel, is okay, is kosher for tefillah of a Valkeri. According to the view that Rav Yehuda never meant to allow to that extent, he meant to allow mayim she'uven, water that was drawn in the kli but now was poured in the karka, that he allowed. But not in a vessel. So what is the general term that Reader is using? Why is Reader using mekomakayim, this general term which seems to include everywhere? What is it coming to include? So it's mayim she'uven. He allows water that was drawn, that was mayim she'uven, that was already drawn in a vessel, but now it was poured into the ground, to the karka. That is allowed for the tefillah Valkeri. So in conclusion, we have machlekes. In the Brisa, Tanakama says, la'acherim, to teach others, that requires a greater level of purity. We have a machlekes, how to interpret his words, whether he's referring to a chayli hamargel, or even a chayli la'oinsai. Now we have Rabbi Yehuda Shita, which allows mayim memsa b'chol makah. We have a machlekes, what does mikol makah mean? Is he coming to allow mayim she'uvim in the karka, or even in a kli? Continues the Gemara of Papa, Rav Huna b'Rav Yeshua v'Rav Shmuel, Krichu rifta ba'ad adadi. They ate bread together, and it came time for Brachos Hamazon. Amar Rav Papa, let me be the one to bench for you, to be mighty to you, to bench on your behalf. Why? Because although I was a Balkari, nevertheless, 9 kabin of water was poured on me, and I'm now tar, I can bench for you. He meant to teach them practical halacha, that although he was margil, he became tamei intentionally through tashmish. Nevertheless, the halacha is that a choyle hamargil is enough to have tisha kabin, like the lenient shita mentioned earlier. Amulu Rabbi Bashmol Tanina. You cannot do so. We learned in the Brisa. When is tisha kabin enough? When one is merely engaged in his private affairs. But if you're coming to do so for others, to be mighty others, you require a much greater level of tahara memsa. You require memsa, and therefore you're not able to be mighty us in this manner. Ella, but rather, let me be the one to bench for you. Because I immersed in a mikveh. Rav Huna says, let me be the one to bench for you. I wasn't even a Balkari to begin with. I wasn't required to have tisha kabin or a mikveh. So I'm the best one of the 3. Let me bench for everybody. Continues the Gemara. Rav Chama tavel b'maliyom de pischa. Rav Chama used to be toivel on Erev Pesach, when he wanted to be mighty others. Concludes the Gemara, the halacha l'maisa, practical halacha, does not follow this stringent view. Rashi explains, either because even to be mighty others, one does not require to be toivel in a mikveh, tisha kabin is sufficient, or because, as Rashi says, the halacha l'maisa, the common practice today is to follow the leniency of Rav Yehuda ben Asera, who allows a Balkari to engage in words of Torah and words of Tefillah. And as Rambam says, this takana says, it was not the spashet b'chol Yisrael, it was not accepted, and Roiv HaTzibur was not Yachal Lamed, but it was not something which majority of Klal Yisrael were able to follow through with, and therefore it was Batela, it became nullified. And nowadays it is not required, but nevertheless, some are stringent and do conduct themselves in this manner. Continues the Mishnah. One who's more of Balkari, he remembers that he's a Balkari. Lo yafsik. He does not interrupt, Ela yikatzer, but shortens his tefillah. Ben Yoni says means that he recites the beginning and the ends of the Brachos. Yorad Litval, he went to immerse in a mikveh, and he's in the water. Says the Mishnah, if he has enough time available to go up, to ascend, to liskases, to cover himself for likros, and to recite Krishma, before the sun begins to rise, which is the optimal time to recite Krishma, so he should do so. He should hurry up, Yalla v'yiskasa v'yikra, and recite Krishma. But in Lav, if he has not enough time to do so, yiskasa b'mayim v'yikra, he should cover himself in the water and recite Krishma right there. He shouldn't use water that has a bad smell, water that was used to soak in it the flax, which is also bad smelling, until he dilutes it with water. Rashi explains it's referring to meraglayim, urine, and once he puts a certain amount of water in it, as the Gemara will explain later, he's allowed to recite Krishma in their proximity. Continues the Gemara. How much does one have to distance himself from meraglayim or from tzay, human waste? 4 ames. He shouldn't interrupt, but rather shorten his tefillah. If he's in the middle of learning and he remembers that he's Balkari, he doesn't interrupt and stops right there, but mumbles and concludes his learning in that manner. A Balkari is not allowed to read in the Torah in a Beis HaKnesses more than 3 psukim, which is the minimum requirement for an aliyah. One who is davening vrot, he sees human waste opposite him. One is not allowed to daven in such close proximity to tzaya. So he continues walking. He ensures that the tzaya is actually behind him, 4 amas away from him. Says the Gemara, we learned in the Brachos that it's sufficient to arrange that the tzayah should be on his sides. He's not required to have it behind him, like kasher. It is not difficult. If he's able to, he has the ability to have the tzayah behind him, fine. But if he's in a position that he can't do so, Suppose he's in front of a river, in front of a building, he can't proceed in a manner that the tzayah will be behind him, and as the Farshim say, he doesn't want to turn around because he wants to daven towards the east. So in that case, litzadim is sufficient. If he's davening and he finds tzayah in his place, even though he sinned by not inspecting the area before he davened, it's speaking about a case where he should have inspected. He should have suspected that this was a place to have tzayah. Tefillah nevertheless is valid. How can that be so? The carbon of a rasha is an abomination. Tefillah is equated to avoid to a carbon. How can you say that this person's tefillah in this manner when he should have inspected it? He should have made sure that it's clean from tzayah. How can you say it's accepted? Since he sinned by neglecting and not making sure that this place was pure, even though he davened, it is damnation is a te'eva. Tefillah is a te'eva, and as Tesis says, nevertheless, according to the Rishitas Ri, he can daven over. He's required to daven over in a place which is free and pure from anything unpure or undesirable.